The Seattle rain came down like bullets that Thursday evening, turning the streets into rivers of reflected neon. Olivia Carter pressed her phone against her ear so hard it hurt. Standing under the inadequate awning of the coffee shop, where she had just presented her biggest pitch of the year, "I understand you're going with another designer." "Mr. Thompson, yes, I appreciate you letting me know." Her voice remained steady even as her world crumbled. 6 weeks of work. Hundreds of hours of design concepts, revisions, late nights after Emma fell asleep. The Thompson Tech rebranding project was supposed to change everything. Supposed to mean financial stability, maybe even enough to move out of their cramped studio apartment. The call ended. Olivia stared at the rain, watching it wash away her carefully constructed plans. Behind her, through the coffee shop window, people laughed and chatted, oblivious to the fact that her entire month's income had just evaporated. She had exactly $43 in her checking account and rent. It was due in 9 days. Emma? She had to pick up Emma from Grace's apartment by 7, and it was already 6:30. Her neighbor had been watching her daughter since 3, and Grace had her own evening plans. Olivia couldn't afford another favor, another apology, another reminder that she was barely holding it together. A black car idled at the curb, hazard lights blinking through the downpour. Her rideshare. Finally, something going according to plan. She yanked open the back door and collapsed inside. Water streaming from her coat, her portfolio bag heavy with rejected designs. "I'm so sorry about the wet seats," she gasped, tossing her bag beside her. "This day has been absolutely the worst day imaginable." The driver said nothing. Through the privacy screen, she could only see his silhouette. "Greenwood Avenue, please?" The apartment complex near the elementary school. Building C. She wiped rain from her face, unsure if the moisture was from the storm or tears. "You know what? I just lost a huge client. 6 weeks of work gone. Just gone because he decided to go with some fancy downtown firm instead." Still silence from the front seat. The words kept pouring out, unstoppable now. "I have a daughter, Emma. She's 6 years old and she needs new winter boots because her feet won't stop growing, even though my bank account stays the same. She needs boots, and I just lost $8,000 of work, and I have no idea how I'm going to make rent next week." Her voice cracked. "Sorry, you probably hear sad stories all night, right? I'm just another passenger falling apart in your back seat. Just drive, please. I need to get home." The man behind the wheel in the driver's seat. Nathan Pierce gripped the steering wheel and made a decision that would alter everything. His actual driver had called 10 minutes ago with car trouble. Nathan had been waiting in his personal vehicle when this woman burst through his door. Mistaking him for her rideshare, he should correct her immediately. Should explain that he was Nathan Pierce, founder and CEO of Pierce Technologies, that his net worth exceeded $3 billion. That he wasn't her driver, but when had anyone last spoken to him like this? Not as a source of investment or influence, not as someone to impress or manipulate, but simply as another human being who might understand. "Greenwood Avenue," he said quietly, pulling into traffic. "Near the elementary school." "I know where that is. Thank you." Her exhale was shaky with relief. "Thank you for not kicking me out for being a complete mess." "Everyone has difficult days," Nathan heard himself say. "Some people just hide them better than others." They drove through the storm in unexpected silence. Nathan watched her in the rearview mirror. She had closed her eyes, head resting against the window, dark curls plastered to her pale face. She looked exhausted in a way that sleep couldn't fix. It's like someone who had been fighting for so long she'd forgotten what peace felt like. "What's your daughter's name?" he asked Emma. A small smile touched her lips, despite her closed eyes. Emma rose. She loves painting and asking impossible questions like, why do people have to work so much? And when will we have enough money to go to Disneyland? "Those are impossible questions," Nathan said softly. "All her questions are impossible," until I realized she just wants honesty. "Even if the truth is, I don't know yet, sweetheart, but I'm working on it." She opened her eyes, watching rain race down the window. Her father left 3 years ago. Just vanished one day. Sent divorce papers from California, and never looked back. Emma barely remembers him now, which might be better. You can't miss what you don't remember. Nathan absorbed this, feeling it settle in his chest. She had been abandoned, left to raise a child alone. And here he sat beginning his own deception by letting her believe he was someone he'd waste. Tell her now. Tell her the truth. But he didn't. The moment that changed everything, they pulled up in front of a tired apartment complex. 3 stories, aging brick. Lights glowing in windows like small promises of warmth. The app says $18, she said, checking her phone. Here's $25. Keep the change. Thank you for listening, and for not making me feel pathetic for falling apart. Nathan took the damp bills, unsure what else to do. He hadn't touched cash in years. You're not pathetic, he said. You're human. There's a significant difference. She gathered her heavy bag, preparing to run through the rain again. At the building entrance, she turned back. What's your name? I want to rate you 5 stars. This was the moment. Tell her the truth, Nate, he said instead. Just Nate. Well, just Nate, you're the only good thing that happened today. Thank you. She smiled once more, then ran through the rain toward her building, shoulders hunched against the storm. Nathan sat in his car, watching until lights came on in a second-floor window. He looked down at the $25 in his hand. Everything in his life was electronic, abstract, disconnected from reality. What had he just done? But even as he asked himself the question, he knew the answer. For the first time in years, someone had seen him not as Nathan Pierce, billionaire entrepreneur, but simply as Nate, a person kind enough to listen when another person needed to be heard, and he wanted more of that feeling. Much more when morning brings reality. Morning arrived cruel and bright. Olivia's alarm screamed at 5, dragging her from dreams where clients never canceled and rent paid itself. Reality returned with the weight of unpaid bills stacked on her tiny kitchen table. She moved through her morning routine on autopilot. Shower, coffee, wake Emma. Breakfast while her daughter chattered about the solar system project due tomorrow, pack lunch. Listen to excited plans about becoming an astronaut while mentally calculating which bills could wait another week. Mom? Emma's voice cut through her financial panic. You have your worried face. I'm not worried, sweetheart. Just thinking about grown-up stuff, about money. Olivia's heart squeezed. 6 years old, and already understanding that money meant stress, that her mother's worry face appeared most often when bills arrived. A little bit about money, but mostly about how lucky I am to have you. Emma accepted this with a solemn nod, returning to her cereal at her desk job. Her backup income source, Olivia pushed through data entry with mechanical precision. Her real passion was design, but passion didn't pay bills. This administrative position at a medical office kept them fed and housed, barely. You okay? Grace appeared beside her cubicle during lunch. Her best friend since college, Grace worked 2 floors up in accounting. You look exhausted. Thompson canceled the project. Grace's expression transformed to fury. That complete jerk. After all that work? He went with Wagner Design downtown. Apparently, my portfolio wasn't sophisticated enough. Olivia unwrapped her homemade sandwich, peanut butter, because deli meat was expensive. I'm fine. I'll find other clients. You're allowed to not be fine, you know. Being not fine doesn't pay Emma's expenses. Fine is required. They ate in companionable silence until Olivia spoke again. Something weird happened yesterday. The rideshare driver I had, he just listened. Didn't judge, didn't offer useless advice. Just let me be human for 15 minutes. Is it strange that simple kindness from a stranger felt like a gift? In this world, Grace laughed without humor. Kindness from anyone feels like a gift. That evening, after picking up Emma from after-school care, after dinner, after helping with homework, after reading 3 chapters of their current book, Olivia sat at her laptop staring at her bank account, $40-3. Rent was $750, due in 8 days. Her phone buzzed. A notification from the rideshare app asking her to rate her driver. She opened it, selected 5 stars, added a generous tip she couldn't afford, and wrote in the comments section, "Thank you for your kindness when I needed it most." She hit submit, then felt foolish. He probably gave dozens of rides daily. He wouldn't remember her. One more emotional passenger among hundreds, but 3 miles away. Nathan Pierce sat in his penthouse, overlooking Elliott Bay, staring at a notification on his phone. 5 stars. A tip. A comment. Thank you for your kindness when I needed it most. He read it 17 times before finally setting his phone down. Tomorrow, he had board meetings. Investor calls a conference with his development team about the next product launch. His real life awaited, the one where he was Nathan, not Nate. But tonight, he let himself imagine a world where he could be both, where someone like her might see him and smile, where he could matter for who he was, not what he owned. Saturday morning arrived, wrapped in autumn gold. The kind of perfect October day that made Seattle residents forget the endless rain. Olivia set up her booth at the Pike Place Market Artists section with practiced efficiency. This weekly ritual had become her lifeline, a chance to sell her freelance design work, custom illustrations. In Emma's paintings, Emma arranged her artwork on the lower display, her small hands careful with each piece. At 6 years old, she took her role as contributing family member seriously. Too seriously, perhaps, for a child her age. "Mama, I made this one special." Emma held up a watercolor of their apartment building with a rainbow arching over it. "I call it Home with Hope. Do you think someone will buy it? It's beautiful, baby. Someone with good taste will definitely want it." Grace arrived carrying 2 coffee cups and a hot chocolate. "Reinforcements have arrived. How are we feeling today?" "Like I'm about to sell enough art to make rent." Manifestation and desperation working together. That's the spirit. Grace handed her the coffee. Black with 2 sugars, exactly how Olivia needed it. The market filled quickly with its usual Saturday energy. Tourists seeking authentic Seattle experiences. Locals hunting for unique gifts. Artists and dreamers supporting other artists and dreamers. Olivia had been selling here for 2 years, slowly building a small customer base. On good days, she made $200. On excellent days, $300. Today needed to be exceptional. By 9, she had sold maybe $60 worth. Not terrible, but nowhere near enough. Then she saw him. The unexpected return aide walked through the market crowd wearing casual clothes. Expensive ones, she noticed now, looking like he had simply stumbled upon her booth by accident. But his eyes found hers immediately, and she knew this was no coincidence. "Nate," she said, the word escaping before she could stop it. "What are you doing here?" "I walk through the market sometimes on Saturday mornings," he said, his smile uncertain. "Saw your booth and thought I'd say hello, if that's okay. If it's weird, I can leave." "It's not weird. It's actually really nice." She found herself smiling back, genuinely. "This is my best friend Grace. And you remember Emma from Thursday night? Well, I mentioned her. You didn't actually meet her." "I didn't meet anyone properly that night," Nate said, something layered in his tone. "But I'm glad to meet you both now." Grace studied him with the intensity of best friends everywhere who had watched their loved ones suffer. "You're the driver who listened?" "I prefer to think of myself as someone who occasionally drives and always listens," Nate replied, meeting her gaze directly. Grace's protective expression softened slightly. "Olivia said you were kind. That matters more than most things." Emma appeared then, clutching one of her paintings. "Do you want to buy art? I painted this rainbow, and it represents hope even when things are hard. It's $10. Nate examined the painting with genuine attention, crouching to Emma's eye level. "This is extraordinary. The way you've blended the colors here, the emotion in the composition. This isn't just a rainbow. This is a story about resilience. Do you really think so?" Emma's face lit up with pure joy. "Or are you just being nice because adults think they have to be nice to kids?" "I really think so, and I would like to buy it if you'll sell it to me. But I only have a $50 bill. Do you have change?" "I don't have change," Emma said seriously. "But you can have 5 more paintings to make it fair." "That sounds like excellent business." Nate handed over the 50, and Emma carefully selected 5 more paintings, explaining each one in detail. Olivia watched this interaction, feeling something dangerous bloom in her chest. Hope, perhaps, or something even more terrifying. Building something real. "Are you here every Saturday?" Nate asked, straightening from his crouch beside Emma. Most Saturdays, weather permitting. Why? Because I walk through here most Saturdays, and I might need more art for my apartment walls. If that's not strange, it's not strange, Olivia heard herself say. That's actually really thoughtful. They stood in the morning sunshine, the market flowing around them, creating a strange island of connection in the weekend chaos. Can I buy you coffee? Nate asked. There's that place 2 blocks over. Nothing fancy, just coffee and conversation. Olivia looked at Grace, who nodded almost imperceptibly. Emma and I can handle the booth for an hour. Go. They walked through the market together, past vendors selling fresh flowers and organic vegetables, past street musicians filling the air with jazz. The coffee shop was small and warm, smelling of espresso and cinnamon. Tell me about your design work, Nate said once they had their drinks. Not the client who canceled. Tell me about the work you love doing, so she told him. About creating visual stories, about the satisfaction of solving problems through design, about the dream of running her own studio someday where she could choose clients based on passion rather than desperation.
Why not start now?
He asked, because starting requires capital I don't have, connections I haven't built, and confidence that got shattered somewhere along the way. What if the confidence is still there? Just buried under circumstances? His question caught her off guard. I don't know, maybe, but confidence doesn't pay for business licenses or equipment or marketing. True, but it does determine whether you try. He paused, choosing words carefully. I believe in backing people who have vision and work ethic. You have both. The resources will follow if you're willing to pursue it. You sound like someone who's built something yourself. Nate's expression shifted, became complicated. I've had some experience with starting ventures. Learned some things along the way. They talked for 2 hours, losing track of time. He asked about Emma, about Olivia's family, about her dreams beyond immediate survival. She asked about his life, and he answered carefully, revealing little concrete information, but showcasing his intelligence, his humor, his genuine interest in her world. When they finally returned to the booth, Grace raised an eyebrow meaningfully. Emma was counting money with serious concentration. We sold 6 more paintings while you were gone. Mama, and someone bought 3 of your illustration prints. It's wonderful, sweetheart. Same time next week. Nate asked, hands in his pockets, expression hopeful. Same time next week, Olivia confirmed. The following Saturdays, the pattern established itself naturally. Nate appeared every Saturday at 9, bought coffee, spent hours at her booth talking while she worked, helped pack up at the end of the day. He bought Emma's paintings and Olivia's designs, always paying far more than asking price and refusing change. By the 3rd Saturday, they had graduated to lunch after the market closed. A small diner 3 blocks away, nothing fancy, just good food and better conversation. My father wants to meet you, Olivia said, during their 4th lunch together. The words came out casually, but her heart raced. He's very protective, very skeptical of men in general, and men who are nice to his daughter specifically.
Right.
Nate set down his coffee cup carefully. You want me to meet your parents? Is that too much? We've only known each other a month. I shouldn't have assumed. No, it's not too much. I'm honored. Really honored. Paused. I just want to make sure I'm worthy of that trust. You've been showing up every Saturday for a month. You're kind to Emma. You listen when I talk. That's more than most people do. You're worthy. The dinner happened the following Friday. Robert Carter, Olivia's father, was 63 and built like someone who had worked in construction for 40 years. He answered the door with assessing eyes that missed nothing. You must be Nate. Thank you for inviting me into your home. Robert stepped aside but didn't offer his hand yet. That would need to be earned. The interrogation in the Carter home smelled like roasted chicken and rosemary, like family in ways Nathan's penthouse never had. Olivia's mother, Patricia, emerged from the kitchen, her smile warmer than her husband's expression. Nate, welcome. Olivia is upstairs with Emma. They'll be down shortly. Please sit. Can I get you something to drink? Water would be wonderful. Thank you. He settled on the living room couch, acutely aware of Robert taking the armchair directly across, positioning himself like a general preparing for battle. So, Robert began, without preamble. You drive for ride-share companies? I do, yes. Full-time? Yes, sir. And that pays enough to support yourself in Seattle. Expensive city for a single man. Nathan had prepared for these questions. I live modestly. I have savings from previous work. I don't need much. What kind of previous work? Corporate sector. Technology companies. It wasn't for me. Too many people pretending to be something they weren't. Robert's expression shifted slightly. Not quite approval, but perhaps less suspicion. My daughter has been through hell, Robert said quietly. Her ex-husband was a liar who abandoned her and Emma, left them with nothing but debt and broken trust. Do you understand what that does to a person? I can imagine it would be devastating, can you? Because I'm sitting here looking at a man who appeared in my daughter's life out of nowhere, a man who has time to spend every Saturday at the market, a man who buys overpriced art from a 6-year-old, and I'm wondering what your angle is. Olivia's voice came from the stairway. She descended with Emma beside her, both freshly bathed. Can you not interrogate him before dinner? I'm simply getting to know him. You're treating him like a criminal. She crossed to Nathan, touched his shoulder briefly. The contact sent electricity through him. I apologize for my father. He thinks everyone has ulterior motives. In my experience, Robert said, most people do. The truth behind kindness dinner unfolded with careful civility. Patricia served chicken and roasted vegetables, homemade bread, apple pie for dessert. Emma chattered about school, about her latest painting project, about the science fair coming up. Nathan listened, asked questions, felt Robert's gaze on him constantly. You're good with children, Patricia observed. Do you have nieces or nephews? No family to speak of, Nathan said, which was technically true. His sister lived in New York, and they spoke maybe twice a year. His parents had passed years ago. But I enjoy kids. They're honest about what they think and feel. Not all adults are dishonest, Robert said pointedly. No, sir. But enough are that honesty feels rare and valuable. After dinner, while Patricia and Olivia cleaned up, Robert invited Nathan outside to the back porch. The November evening had turned cold, the garden settling into winter dormancy. I need to ask you something, Robert said, not looking at him. And I need complete honesty, of course. You married? Separated? Running from something? No, sir, to all of those. I'm single, not running, just trying to build something meaningful. Robert finally looked at him. My daughter doesn't need someone to save her. She needs a partner. Someone who will stand beside her, not in front of her. Someone who respects that she's building her own life and supports that without trying to control it. Can you be that person? That's exactly what I want to be, Nathan said. A partner, not a savior. Robert extended his hand finally. Then we understand each other. When Nathan left 2 hours later, Olivia walked him to his car. The neighborhood was quiet, streetlights casting pools of gold on the sidewalk. You survived, she said. My father shook your hand. That's huge. He hasn't approved of anyone in my life since my ex. I'm honored by his trust. The words felt like broken glass in his throat. I trust you too. She stepped closer. I know we haven't known each other long. I know this is fast, but I feel safe with you. For the first time since my marriage ended, I feel like I can breathe around a man. You make me feel seen. Nathan's heart shattered. Every word was a knife. I'm falling for you, she whispered. I didn't want to. I fought it. But I'm falling anyway, and I need you to know that. I need you to tell me if you feel the same, or if I'm alone in this. You're not alone, his voice broke. I'm falling too. I have been since that first night in the rain. She kissed him then, soft and tentative and terrifying in its tenderness. He kissed her back, tasting hope and trust and everything he didn't deserve. Stay in my life, she whispered against his lips. Please, just stay. I will, he promised. As long as you'll have me. He drove away watching her in his rearview mirror, standing under the streetlight, waving goodbye. Beautiful and trusting, and building her heart on the foundation of his lies. And Nathan knew with terrible certainty that when the truth emerged, and it would emerge, the destruction would be absolute. 3 months passed like a dream Olivia was afraid to wake from. Nate had become woven into the fabric of her life so seamlessly that she couldn't remember what Saturdays felt like without him. He showed up not just at the market, but at Emma's school events, at family dinners, at the small moments that made up ordinary life. December brought snow to Seattle, rare and beautiful. Olivia's design freelancing had picked up after she landed 2 solid clients through market connections. Not enough to quit her day job, but enough to breathe slightly easier. Enough to start believing that stability might actually be possible? "I have news," she told Nate one Saturday evening. They sat in her small apartment, Emma asleep in the bedroom, snow falling softly outside the window. "Remember that community art exhibition I applied for? The one at the Westlake Gallery? They accepted me. I get wall space for 20 pieces in February. It's a huge opportunity. Gallery owners attend, potential clients, press coverage." Her hands trembled slightly. "This could change everything for my design business." Nate pulled her close, and she felt his heart beat against her cheek. "This is incredible. You deserve this. Your talent deserves to be seen." "I'm terrified," she admitted. "What if nobody comes? What if my work isn't good enough?" "Your work is exceptional. Trust that. Trust yourself." She looked up at him, this man who had become her anchor. "I couldn't have gotten here without you. Your belief in me, your encouragement. You helped me remember that I'm capable of more than just surviving." Something flickered across his face. Pain, perhaps, or guilt. But it vanished so quickly she thought she'd imagined it. The weight of deception in his downtown office. Nathan Pierce stared at documents his assistant Jennifer had prepared. Legal papers for an anonymous business grant. Everything arranged so Olivia would receive funding for her design studio without knowing the source. "This is incredibly complicated," Jennifer said carefully, "and potentially problematic. You're giving someone money without their knowledge or consent. It's a grant. Anonymous benefactors fund artists all the time. Anonymous benefactors who aren't secretly dating the recipients while pretending to be rideshare drivers." Jennifer's tone was gentle but firm. "Mr. Pierce, you need to tell her the truth. Before this gets more complicated, I know." Nathan rubbed his face tiredly. "I've been trying to find the right moment for 3 months. There is no right moment for this conversation. There's only honest and more lies." His phone buzzed. A text from Olivia. "Emma made you a Christmas card. She's very proud of it. We both are. Of you." The words pierced him. They were proud of Nate, the fiction he'd created. Not Nathan Pierce, the man who'd built a technology empire through aggressive acquisitions and ruthless business strategy. They loved someone who didn't fully exist. "I'm going to tell her," he said quietly. "After the exhibition? After she has this success that she earned entirely on her own. Then I'll tell her everything and accept the consequences." Jennifer looked at him with something like pity. "You're a good man making terrible choices. I hope you know that. Good men don't lie to people they love for 3 months. Good men also recognize their mistakes and try to fix them, even when it costs them everything." The exhibition night, February 14th, arrived with cruel irony. Valentine's Day and the opening night of Olivia's exhibition. She had worked for 6 weeks preparing her pieces, 20 designs that told the story of resilience, of single motherhood, of finding beauty in struggle. The gallery filled with people, friends, family, strangers drawn by the promotional materials. Grace stood beside her, squeezing her hand. Robert and Patricia beamed with parental pride. Emma wore her favorite dress and held tightly to Nate's hand. "Look at all these people, Mama," Emma whispered. "They're here to see your art." Olivia's throat tightened with emotion. 3 years ago, she'd been buried under her ex-husband's debts, certain her dreams were dead. Now she stood in a gallery, surrounded by people celebrating work she'd created from nothing but determination and hope. "I'm so proud of you," Nate said quietly, appearing beside her. "You did this. All of this." She kissed him softly. "We did this. You believed in me when I couldn't believe in myself." The evening unfolded like magic. People loved her work. She sold 12 pieces before 9 o'clock. A gallery owner from Pioneer Square asked for her card, mentioned a group show in April. A tech company representative inquired about commissioning designs for their new office. spaced by 10. When the crowd had thinned, Olivia felt like she was floating. This was success. Real, tangible success built on her own merit. "Can I steal you for a moment?" Nate asked. "There's something I need to tell you. Something I should have told you months ago." The seriousness in his tone made her stomach drop. "That sounds ominous." "It's not ominous. It's just honest. And honesty is long overdue." They stepped outside into the cold February night. The streets were quiet, snow beginning to fall again. "The moment of truth, I haven't been completely honest with you," Nate began, his voice shaking slightly. "My name is Nathan. Nathan Pierce. I don't drive for rideshare companies. I'm the CEO of Pierce Technologies." Olivia stared at him, not comprehending. "What are you talking about?" "That night, 3 months ago, when you got into my car, I wasn't your driver. My actual driver had car trouble. I was waiting in my personal vehicle when you opened the door. I should have corrected you immediately, but I didn't. Then I kept not telling you, and the lie grew bigger every day."
How the world tilted sideways.
"You've been lying to me for 3 months?" "I've been lying about my identity. But everything else has been real. My feelings for you, my relationship with Emma, my belief in your talent, that's all been completely real. Your feelings?" Olivia's voice rose. "You don't get to talk about real feelings while admitting you've been playing pretend with my life." Nathan Pierce. The Nathan Pierce who owns half of Seattle's tech sector? Money doesn't define who I am. No, but lies do. Tears burned her eyes. "I told you about my ex-husband. I told you what it did to me, discovering I'd been living with someone who wasn't who he claimed to be. I told you I needed honesty above everything else. And you looked me in the eye and promised you wouldn't lie to me. I'm sorry. I'm so incredibly sorry. Sorry doesn't fix this." She stepped back, putting physical distance between them. "You let me introduce you to my daughter. You met my parents. You became part of our lives while pretending to be someone else. What kind of person does that?" "A coward," Nathan said quietly. "A man who is lonely and isolated and found something real for the first time in years. That doesn't excuse what I did. Nothing excuses it. But I need you to understand that my feelings are genuine. How can I trust anything you say? How do I know what's real and what's performance? Because I'm telling you the truth now? Because I'm risking losing you, to be honest." Olivia laughed bitterly. "You're not risking losing me. You've already lost me. The moment you decided to keep lying, you lost me." The devastation Grace found her 20 minutes later, sitting on a bench 2 blocks from the gallery, crying in the falling snow. "Olivia, everyone's looking for you. What happened? Nate isn't who he said he was. He's been lying the entire time. His name, his job, everything." Grace sat beside her, wrapping an arm around her shoulders. "Tell me everything." So Olivia did. The whole story spilled out between sobs. The deception, the months of building trust on false foundations, the betrayal that felt like her ex-husband all over again. "I'm such an idiot," Olivia whispered. "I fell for the same trick twice. I let someone make me believe they were something they weren't." "You're not an idiot. You're someone who chose to trust again despite being hurt. That's bravery, not stupidity. It feels like stupidity. I know it does. But this isn't the same as your ex. Your ex was malicious. This man made a terrible mistake and told you the truth. After 3 months of lies, Grace agreed, which is horrible and wrong. But he told you. He didn't wait for you to discover it. That counts for something, does it? Because I can't see past the betrayal right now. I can't see past the fact that I trusted someone who didn't deserve it." Grace held her while she cried. While the snow fell, while the night grew colder. The difficult conversations the next morning. Olivia had to tell Emma. Her daughter sat at the kitchen table eating cereal, humming a song from school. "Sweetheart, I need to talk to you about Nate." Emma looked up, immediately sensing something wrong. "Is he okay?" "He's fine. But he's not going to be coming around anymore." "Why not? Did you have a fight?" "How did you explain adult betrayal to a 6-year-old? He wasn't honest with us about some important things. And when people aren't honest, we can't trust them anymore." What did he lie about? About who he is. About his job and his life. Emma's face crumpled. But he was nice to me. He liked my paintings for real, right? That wasn't pretend? No, baby. I think his feelings were real. But the other stuff, the stuff about who he was, that wasn't true. And we need people in our lives who tell us the truth. I'm going to miss him, Emma whispered. I know, sweetheart. I am too. But missing him didn't make the betrayal hurt less. Didn't erase the fact that she'd built a relationship on lies. Didn't change that once again. She'd been fooled by someone pretending to be better than they were. The weeks that followed, Nathan tried to reach her. Texts, calls, letters delivered to her apartment. Olivia ignored them all. She couldn't hear his voice without feeling the sharp edge of betrayal. The exhibition's success continued. The tech company commissioned her for a major project. The Pioneer Square Gallery offered her a solo show in June. Her design business was taking off exactly as she'd hoped, but the joy felt muted. Shadowed by heartbreak, Grace visited often, bringing wine and listening to Olivia process her feelings. Robert wanted to track Nathan down and have words. Patricia counseled patience and reflection. I'm not saying what he did was right, her mother said gently. But people make mistakes. Sometimes good people make terrible choices. He lied for 3 months, Mom. That's not a mistake. That's a pattern. It's true. But he also supported you, believed in you, loved Emma genuinely. Can both things be true? Can he have made a horrible choice and still be a decent person? Olivia didn't know. She only knew that trust, once broken, felt impossible to rebuild. The gesture of proofs. 6 weeks after the confrontation, Olivia received a letter from a law firm. Inside was documentation for an anonymous grant she'd apparently been awarded. $50,000 for emerging artists to establish professional studios. She read through the paperwork twice and called the number listed. Yes, Miss Carter, the lawyer confirmed. The grant was established by an anonymous benefactor, specifically for artists showing exceptional promise. You were selected based on the merit of your exhibition work.
Ow.
Who established it? I'm not at liberty to say. The benefactor wishes to remain anonymous. But Olivia knew. She knew with absolute certainty who had arranged this. She showed up at Pierce Technologies the next day without an appointment. The building was glass and steel, soaring into the Seattle sky, everything about it screaming wealth and power. I need to see Nathan Pierce, she told the receptionist. Do you have an appointment? No, but tell him Olivia Carter is here. He'll see me. 10 minutes later, she was escorted to the 40th floor, to an office with views that stretched across the entire city. Nathan stood by the window, wearing a suit that probably cost more than her monthly rent, looking like the billionaire he actually was. You can't buy forgiveness, she said without preamble. I know. That's not what this is. Then what is it? Proof that my belief in you was real. The grant has nothing to do with our relationship. It's based entirely on the merit of your work. I wanted you to have the resources to build your dream. Whether or not you ever speak to me again, you can't just throw money at problems and expect them to disappear. I'm not trying to make the problem disappear. I'm trying to prove that everything I said about your talent was true. That my feelings, my support, my belief in you, all of that was genuine, even if my identity was false. Olivia stared at him, at this man she'd loved and lost. Do you have any idea how this feels? Discovering that someone I trusted completely was living a double life? I can't fully understand your pain, but I know I caused it, and I would do anything to undo that. The path forward, I need time, Olivia said finally. I need time to figure out if I can separate the lies from the truth. If I can believe that your feelings were real, even though everything else was fake, I'm going to take all the time you need. I'll wait. However long it takes. Don't wait for me, Nathan. Live your life. Figure out why you thought lying was acceptable. Work on being someone who doesn't need to pretend. Will you accept the grant? Please, it's not about us. It's about your talent deserving support. She wanted to refuse on principle. Wanted to throw his money back in his face and prove she didn't need anything from him, but that would be pride talking, not wisdom. And Emma needed new shoes. And the studio space she'd been looking at required a deposit. And sometimes accepting help wasn't weakness. It was survival. I'll accept it. But only because I earned it through my work. Not because of any relationship we had, understood completely. She turned to leave, then paused at the door. For what it's worth, I did love you. The version of you that existed when we were together. I don't know if that person was real or not, but I loved him. He was real, Nathan said quietly. He's more real than the person I've been for years. You helped me remember who I wanted to be, even if I went about it in the worst possible way. 3 months later, spring arrived in Seattle with cherry blossoms and longer days. Olivia's design studio opened in a small space in Fremont. Painted walls covered with her work, a desk by the window where she could create. Emma's paintings hung in one corner, adding color and joy. The tech company project had led to 3 more commissions. The solo show at Pioneer Square Gallery was scheduled for August. Her life was coming together in ways she'd only dreamed about 3 years ago. Grace stopped by on opening day, bringing champagne and congratulations. You did it, Amor. You actually built the dream.
I did.
We did. Everyone who believed in me. Does that include him? Olivia knew who she meant. I don't know, maybe. His support was real, even if his identity wasn't. I'm trying to separate those things in my mind. Have you talked to him? No, but I think about him. More than I want to admit. The truth was, she missed him. Missed his presence, his encouragement, the way he made Emma laugh. Missed the feeling of being seen and valued. But trust took time to rebuild, if it could be rebuilt at all. That evening, she locked up her new studio. She found an envelope tucked under the door. Inside was a card with Emma's drawing from months ago, the one titled Home with Hope. On the back, written in Nathan's handwriting, "This has been hanging in my office since the day I bought it. It reminds me daily what matters. Thank you for teaching me that. Congratulations on your studio. You earned every bit of this success. With love and respect always, Nathan." Olivia stood in the spring twilight, holding the card, feeling her carefully constructed walls begin to crack. Not collapse, not yet, but crack enough to let in the possibility that maybe, just maybe, people deserved second chances. That mistakes, even terrible ones, didn't have to define someone forever. She wasn't ready to forgive him, wasn't ready to trust again, but maybe someday she would be. And that possibility, fragile as new growth, was enough for now. She tucked the card into her bag and walked home through the blooming city, toward Emma and dinner and the life she'd built from nothing but determination and hope. The future was uncertain, but it was hers, built on truth and hard work and the knowledge that she was strong enough to survive anything, even heartbreak, even betrayal, even love.